Okay, so we're back to some of the basic stuff that you want to know when you're working in Ableton. All right, so there's a few key things that I feel personally that would have helped me knowing out the gate. One is this transport bar, understanding most of the features up here. Some of them you may not need, but some of them you may. For instance, tap tempo is right here. You can tap it 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it'll tap the tempo. And then you could just make adjustments if you want to, or double click and type in whatever you want. So let's say I type in 70. There you go. That's kind of important to know. All right, let's continue on. All right, so 4/4, here's your settings. Most people work in 4/4, but occasionally if you decide you want to change that, it's right here. This needs to be on for your metronome to click. And you can set it for how many, if you click on this little drop down arrow, you can pick the different sounds. You can pick how many bars it's going to go for. And then you can set it for like enable while only while recording, or I just leave it on and turn it on and off personally. All right. This is your bars right here too, that you can pull how you want the grid to be set. So mine's set on bars. And as you zoom in, you'll see the other bars up here, right there. So it's pretty simple. This is all new to Ableton Live 12. So you'll be able to now go in and set your key. When you do that, it helps you when you're using the MIDI. So for instance, here, I'll just draw a MIDI in, and then you'll see the scale locked there. So if I set D minor and I have the highlight scale on, now the purple represents what's in scale for that key. And you can do each individual track too, which is kind of cool. All right, let's put that back to major. We'll give it this MIDI clip. All right, moving along. So obviously record, stop, play, pretty clear. This button here, this is your MIDI capture. And by the way, if you ever wonder what something is, the little eye over here is your information. So when you hover over it, it'll tell you that's MIDI capture. So if you played something in and you want to come back and capture, just click this button and it'll populate the MIDI. This is your session record button. So it's got like the overdub. So let's say you want to record and just keep overdubbing over it. This button needs to be on. And this button right here is your MIDI or looper. So you see this looper up top. If you turn it off, it goes away. Turn it back on. And if you, let's say you have clip right here or MIDI. If you touch this and hit Command L on the Mac, you'll see the looper will just automatically loop that section. So it doesn't matter. You can highlight anywhere, hit Command L, and it's going to move to that section. There's a few commands that you want to learn. Just moving this back. Okay. And the first one is command that you use a lot is Command Z and Command A. These are common in some DAWs. For Command A is select all. Command Z is for you to be able to undo something. If you ever wonder though what I'm saying with regards to that, they're right here. Here's Command Z. All the commands are generally next to whatever they do. So I would say learn Command Z. Obviously, Command C is copy, Command V is paste, Command D is duplicate, and Command X to cut. So if you can learn those, it can kind of help you navigate through the DAW pretty quick. The commands are important. All right. This little button here with this keyboard allows me to use the keyboard on my QWERTY keyboard to play in notes. If it's off, it won't do it. Okay. The key here, I'm not going to worry about. The MIDI is for MIDI mapping something. and those are crucial. Now, if this key is on, and let's say you wanted to look at the automation, normally for automation, you just hit A and it populates up, right? This was one of the things that confused me. If you happen to have this on this MIDI right here, this notes, A will not open up the automation. So you have to turn that off. That's why I said it only works generally when you have it on for playing. And when it's off, then you can do your automation. So those were a few things that it took me a second to get used to coming from another DAW, and I thought I'd share them. The other thing is you see all these red dots. These red dots represent favorites. So, and these right here are the ones I set up for popular plugins that I use more often than nothing else, than other things. There we go. So when you're in the plugins, this is what yours is going to look like. You're going to see that they put all the names of the companies that make these. And this might not be your favorite. So you can edit stuff and use it, set your own edit groups. But what I did was I went in and selected the things that I use the most. So if I want to get rid of, for instance, I want to filter these down. So your filters, then maybe you want to just go, hey, I just want AUV 2s, or yeah, AUV 2s. And then you can filter that. So now you won't see the AUV 2s, the AUV 3s all together, right? So you can maneuver that around. However it works best for you. I'm recording. That's just an emergency. All right. So then the next thing that you want to do is set those favorites. Those favorites are going to speed up your workflow heavily. And you really want that to be in place so that you don't have to go hunt down certain devices that you use more often. And then if you want to explore and excuse me, and look for stuff, there's always a search box up here too. You can just type it in and it's pretty quick if you're not the type to set up all this. All right. Then places down here, you can add folders from that are not on your desktop, so you can pull stuff in. So I added my hard drive, right? Whole hard drive, and now I can just go through and pick what I want out of this. Makes it super easy to find all your plugins and things that and samples rather that you have. So for instance, you can also individually make samples. So here's my drums all in one folder. And then, for instance, I have, where is it? Sample packs. So here's sample packs all in a folder, right? That I can just easily access here. So, and then this is a user folder. So this is where I'm going to end this video. There's, if you have any questions on that, please drop them in the box. But this is just so you can see the layout. You'll do a lot of time searching for your plugins and presets and sounds and stuff through here. And then everything else will be, pretty much an easier workflow for you. Hopefully all this makes sense. It's pretty simple, but it does take time to get used to it. Visit your settings, go in your settings. And if you wonder, you always want to make sure your plugins are set up like this. And if you bring a new plugin into your system, you want to hit rescan and it'll scan for that items. Just constantly doing that. Let's see. Okay, your warp and record settings, you want to go into there, set all that stuff up. If you're going to do auto warp, where every time you drop something, it automatically warps it, you can tell it which one you want it to be. I just use complex, but if you use beats, I think default is set to beats. So you can use either one and be fine. That's for your plugins, that's for your library, that's your file folder. Settings. There is, I think that's it on there. Okay, and here's your MIDI stuff. When you're looking for your different keyboards and stuff, it'll populate there. Your audio input and output, important. Obviously the sample rate and buffer rate, you want to get all that set up. You can change the colors of these. So right now it's set to the default, but you can go see how I can just change it depending on what you like. I just leave it at default. I'm fine with that. And then of course this is your display and input. So I don't really touch much of this, but yeah, so navigate through your settings. Make sure you set that up before you save your template. Like I showed you in the last video, do all that stuff first. And you can even set your BPM for your template. So let's say you tend to live in the 90 range and you want your tempo to start at 90, just set it for 90 and then save your default template as that. Down here is the mixer. So if you don't want to tab, see tab up here, these take you back and forth, but you want to see it while you have the track on here, then just click down here and you can bring up the mixer and see the mixer. This little volume here, you want to adjust it for the headphones so that the click on the metronome does not drive you crazy. So hear it. If you want it louder, just adjust it here, or softer. I like mine a little bit softer because it's kind of piercing in some ways. All right. So that's some basic stuff to navigate around through on here. Once you get going with that, we'll go to the next level. Don't forget, record is right here. Solo is right here. This is your volume. This is your panning left and right. And it's all right here. Okay. So that's pretty much it for this video. Just wanted to get you going on kind of navigating around the scene here and what you can do. This is called arrangement view. And then this is session view. This is more like what people use for live recording. So you can record using this clip view if that's what you like. I'm more into the arranger view. I don't like clip view. So I just record straight to the DAW. Straight to the linear timeline. All right, that's it.